Hi, welcome to this month's Coffee with Katie. Rather than having the traditional get-together, I thought I'd put together a short series of videos for you. I'm going to start with estate planning, and here's the reason why. Because in a recent study with cares.com, they do an annual study. In the 2020 study, they identified that over 50% of people ages 55 and older do not have an estate plan or estate documents in place. And for people ages 35 to 55, it's only, or 54, only 27% of people have estate documents in place. And I just think that it's so important to tidy up those pieces of your financial life. And so I'm going to spend some time talking about estate planning. Today I'm going to go over some of the basics of estate planning. In the next video of the series, I'm going to discuss trust structures. So kind of high level, the differences of different trust structures. And then finally, in the third piece of the series, I want to talk about gifting and some charitable strategies. So hopefully you'll stay tuned for all three of them. Getting back to the basics of estate planning. So as I mentioned, unfortunately, more than 50% of people over age 55 do not have an estate plan in place for a number of different reasons. One of them being, it's an uncomfortable conversation. It's not really fun to talk about. It's not fun to think about. But I'm going to say this, as uncomfortable as it is for you to figure out, it's that times 10 for your heirs, your loved ones, to try to figure out after your passing. And so it's so important to put the time up front in doing that so that it's not an added stress on top of everything else at the time of your passing. So what's included in a basic estate plan? You really have three primary components. One is a durable power of attorney. The second is medical directives. And then the third is your will. You might also have a letter of instruction in there too, so I'll touch on that also. By the way, at the end of this video, I am going to include a download that goes over these items that we're talking about today. So if you want a refresher or something to reflect back upon, please feel free to grab that download of the key documents for an estate plan. So a durable power of attorney. This is providing or naming an individual to help take care of your financial affairs in the event that you are either physically or mentally unable to take care of those. So that might be paying your bills, watching over your investments, filing your taxes. But you can also specify in that power of attorney, maybe you want to limit some of the controls. So maybe you want to say, I don't want that person to be able to gift to other people, or maybe just to family members or certain ones. You can put in some parameters on things like that, or you might want to limit their ability to change a beneficiary. So there are some considerations there. But essentially it is naming another individual to take care of your financial affairs if you are not able to. The next item is medical directives. So there are two main parts of medical directives typically. There's a living will, and that's where you can specify what type of medical care you would approve to have or maybe decline in having, and what type of treatments. So you might have a preference for certain treatments, or you might say that you don't want to have certain life-sustaining treatments. So that's the living will portion of it. And then there's the power of attorney for healthcare portion of it. And once again, that's where you name an individual to help make those medical decisions for you if you're not able to. Finally, a will. That's typically the cornerstone of an estate plan. And so the will, that is what is going to direct the distribution of your assets upon your passing. So that's where you'll say, this individual or this organization, I would like them to receive whatever piece of property that you own that you want to flow to them. And I think one of the really important things that I would love to point out, or I would love to mention, is that items that flow through a will are items that are owned by you individually and do not have a named beneficiary. So for instance, if you have a 401k at work, that 401k or an IRA, if you name a beneficiary, it is not going to flow through the will. So it's really important to make sure that the beneficiary designations align with your will and your other estate documents, and to recognize that not everything goes through the will. It's only items that don't have a named beneficiary already. So really good reminder there. And those are the three main pieces. As I mentioned, you might also want to have a letter of instruction. It's a non-legal document, but just to help get your thoughts and your preferences down on paper, and maybe some general directions or items that you'd like to kind of mull over time, and you can change that document as you go. So I hope this has been helpful, and I look forward to you tuning into the other two parts of the series. Okay, so when we talk about trusts, and we talk about gifting and charitable strategies. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me at kbrown@mortonbrownfw.com.